Good morning, I'm showing 0700. We'll get started with today's operational briefing for July 17th, 2021. My name is Chris Crair, I'm the Plan Section Chief for IMT1. If you could do me a favor, please silence all electronics right now, turn down your radios, and keep all side conversations outside of the briefing area. We'll get started with the incident situation update.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Josh Campbell, Night Ops for Team 1. So for the folks that have been here already, the map has changed. The division break, or the breaks and the branch breaks have moved a little bit. So I'm just gonna go off of what we've had. Starting down here in Division Alpha. In Division Alpha, it's pretty cold. It's holding right along the railroad tracks there. And they continue to do work in there and work on that train trestle that they've got secured, but they still want to keep people in there working on that. Division Bravo, same thing, just kind of patrolling and mopping up along the railroad tracks. Moving into Foxtrot. Foxtrot had a hand line punch direct all the way to the river. They plumbed that, it's plumbed all the way in there. I don't know if they started flowing it this morning, but it's there for the people that are working in that area. I suggest you get in there and get us some depth on that section of line. Moving up into Division Mike. This is our crucial area through here. Division Mike's holding really well to the break, but when we get past Division Mike, I believe this is drop point 3 right here, we had to go a little bit indirect with the dozer line, but what we're doing is we're just trying to build a catcher's mitt there, and as the opportunities come open to us, we're trying to go direct and just take little bites at a time. We're trying to get around this without having to disturb too much of the land. Moving up into Papa, it's kind of hard to see. We have a dozer line going out here. It basically stops right here at the branch break, and then they're going to continue up with contingency line all the way around the top. But while we're working trying to grab ground here in Division Papa, they're going to put another line across the top right here. It'll be our primary line, and then that will be our secondary line. Division Quebec and Romeo are new, that's the contingency, and also Division Sierra. Division Whiskey, the fire moved a little bit last night. It's kind of hung up in here. It's just creeping down towards the railroad tracks. Other than that, the winds were pretty calm. The fire activity was pretty mild last night. We didn't have a lot of activity, and the folks that were in there last night, we really appreciate it, and the shift before. You guys have done a great job. Just keep it up. Be safe.
Thank you, Josh. Moving on to the management objectives. Utilize risk management process to identify and mitigate hazards to protect firefighters and the public. Emphasize strategies and tactics that have the highest probability of success and the least exposure to firefighters to the public. Develop strategies to protect life, property, communities, business, and infrastructure. Employ tactics that fulfill these strategies while being mindful of the necessity for contingency and emergency plans. Ensure strategies account for incident priorities, applying resources to those with the highest consequences first. Follow COVID-19 CDC and establish local, state, and federal guidance to limit the virus spread within the incident and the surrounding communities near the fire area. Provide timely and continuous information to affected partners, cooperators, and the public. Maintain fiscal accountability and keep costs commensurate with values at risk. Control objectives. Keep the fire north of Polga Bridge. Keep the fire south of Humberg Summit Road. Keep the fire east of Concal Reservoir. And keep the fire west of Bucks Lake. Fire weather.
Good morning, Julia Ruthford with Fire Weather. So last night, conditions stayed rather warm and dry up on the ridges. Humidity recoveries were only to about 25%, and we're looking at that trend continuing with a bit warmer and drier day to day. We'll be seeing temperatures about 3 to 5 degrees warmer than what we had yesterday. For the fire elevations, that'll mean low 90s, around 2,000 feet, ranging into the mid 80s at the mid elevations, and up on the higher ridges at 6,000 feet, highs in the mid 70s. Humidities, like I said, will be a little bit drier, between about 11 to 14% this afternoon. Winds, we're going to see the overnight northeast winds. Those will be continuing through around 9 or 10 a.m., become light and variable with upslope. Generally southeast winds developing for an hour or two, mid to late morning, and then the southwesterly up canyon winds developing late morning through the afternoon, and by afternoon increasing to 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusts 20 to 25. So warm, dry, breezy day. Winds will be following that normal canyon-driven pattern, and then we'll see them dying down again around sunset and switching around to the normal northeast overnight.
Thank you. Thank you. Fire behavior.
Good morning. Sean Norman. I'll be doing your fire behavior forecast for today. I'm going to start in branch 1. So in branch 1, the fire's backing itself down to the river and along the railroad tracks. So primarily the issues you guys are going to need to deal with in there is rollout, something getting established, and making a head run in there. One thing to remember is much of this fire area has, in fact, all of this fire area has had at least one major fire in every component of it in the last 20 years. Some of it has had fire in there 3 times in the last 20 years. So the biggest concern would be that you're working in a post-fire environment where you have a lot of dead and down fuel that's able to be released and have rolling material come down, and then also be very receptive to spot fires. Coming around into Foxtrot and Mike, and in that area, the primary risk for you guys today is just something getting outside your line that's been sleeping for a day or two. I think that the way that wind's going to line up for you there, anything that gets out, you should be successful at picking it up. You can see that this fire has been primarily that wind driven by that southwest flow, other than the first night when it made that big push on us up and out with the Jarbo winds. Once you get up on that bench outside the canyon, the Jarbo winds are not as much of a factor for you, so they'll have a lower impact on your fire spread in there. As we get to Papa, that Rock Creek drainage is almost done burning out. Most of that area out above Rock Creek and Tobin Ridge has had heavy fire activity in it. So there, yesterday we saw very intense fire with some what I would consider medium range spotting, but not a lot of torching or anything going on because there's not a lot of standing timber in there. Your primary issue there is dead and down. The one thing I want to highlight for all of you is transition. And so those times when we transition from that down canyon and down slope wind, we'll have those periods of still air. That's going to be from 9 till about 11 in the morning, and then again from about 1900 till about 2200. It is at that time when humidities are low still and when that dry air is settling in that we can have no wind pattern to drive this fire up or down the canyon. The fire can make a slope run and run opposite of what you would expect. So I really want those 2 time periods for you to brief down to those troops to be very heads up. And we have had 2 near misses in this canyon farther south with that exact situation unfolding. The last thing is any fire that gets established east of Tobin, there has not been a major fire in there in a little while. The last significant fire was 99 that I'm aware of. There you can expect rapid rates of spread and probably resistance to control even with the proximity of the river and helicopter support. Have a safe shift.
And branch and division work assignments.
Good morning, Merrick Fields, Operations for Incident Management Team 1. First of all, I want to set the stage. The unit's been handed a tough fire to deal with, and they did a great job. And what we got was they had some good line established, and we're going to go out there today and continue to improve on that. So starting over in Division Alpha, there's some very critical infrastructure in there. There's the UP Railroad Trestle. It is very crucial to us to get in there, mop up around that, and secure that. The crews have done a lot of good work in there yesterday. We need to go in there and continue that. And then through the rest of the Highway 70 corridor in Division Alpha and Division Whiskey, there's several critical infrastructure being the PG&E power plants and then some residential structures. We need to go in there and do some point protection on those as that fire backs down off of the ridge line towards Highway 70 or the railroad tracks. Coming around into Division Bravo, we've got that hand line established in there. It's direct. We've got it plumbed. We need to get in there and start mopping that up. We're going to shoot for 300 foot of mop up in there and get that bottom end secured so that we're only dealing with active fire on one end of this. As we move around into Division Foxtrot, a lot of good work's been done in there. We've got direct dozer line or hand line in there. We need to get in there and continue to mop up. Again, shooting for 200 to 300 foot of mop up in there. As we move up into Division Mike, same thing. Division Pop is where we start to be challenged a little bit. Right there at the Rock Creek drainage, where the dozer line hits the Rock Creek drainage, it's given us some pits in there. We're going to have to get in there and look at possibly going direct at the same time as we're working on the contingency line or that's going out the last year's contingency lines from the Bear Fire and tying that into Division Quebec. What's a little bit different on the map is Division Quebec is going to come along right there across Long Dip. I'll have to show you on the map. Division Quebec's going to come along the ridge line just south of the Chips Creek drainage. There's a road system in there. We're going to get in there with a bunch of dozers today and start opening that up and go all the way across to Murphy's Flat, and then from Murphy's Flat dropping down into Division Sierra. We're going to have to run some hand line coming up out of the Highway 70 drainage and tie those two in and connect the dots. Thank you.
Branch and division roll call.
Good morning, BJ Corey, Resource Unit Leader with Team 1. I'll be doing the branch and division roll call. So branches and divisions, when you hear your name, please stand. Loudly stay here, put your hand up and face the crowd so everybody can see where you are. Before we start the roll call though, there is a change to the ICS 203 and it's kind of an important one. Division Sierra is in branch 1. We have it listed in branch 10. That is not the case. It is correct on the map, not in the IAP. So again, Division Sierra is in branch 1, not branch 10. So we'll go ahead and get started with branch 1, Stornetta.
Here.
And Petro.
Here.
Division Alpha, Edson.
Here.
Bravo, Height.
Here.
Whiskey, Hunt.
Here.
Division Sierra will be Pendel.
Here.
And Oaks, Trainee.
Here.
Branch 5, Costa.
Here.
And Vance, Trainee.
Here.
Foxtrot, Aragon.
Here.
Mike, Conte.
Here.
Conati. Papa, Hell.
Here.
Branch 10, Johnson.
Here.
And Felix.
Here.
Quebec, Kenyon.
Here.
And Hagen, Trainee. Romeo, Mansabio. Mancebo. Copy that, he'll be in later. Contingency, Norman is a write-in. And then Road, Gee. All right, thank you everybody, and have a safe shift.
Air operations.
Good morning, everyone. Thomas Smith, Air Operations Team 1, to support the ground troops on the fire today. Fixed wing will be based out of Chico. We have early up, 1 air attack, 3 Type 3 multi-engines, RS-2s, and an ASM. On the rotor wing side, we're based out of Oroville. We have 6 Type 1 water-dropping helicopters, 2 Type 2s, and 3 Type 3s. You will see a National Guard contingency of Chinooks and UH-60s coming in today as well. A couple of big key points: continue to monitor air to ground with all of our Type 1 helicopters, and what Chief was talking about with our dead and down, they will not drop without making sure they have a ground contact and the line is clear. Final thing is we do have a 24-hour ALS hoist helicopter through the National Guard based out of Oroville. Make sure you follow your medical plan and ordering for that. And we do realize that there are some long travel times if anyone gets hurt out there. Have a safe day.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Brad Niven, Safety Officer of CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 1. First thing, COVID safety. COVID is making a resurgence in and around all our communities. Please ensure you're washing your hands, you're using hand sanitizer, and you're socially distant when appropriate. It is recommended that if you are not vaccinated, that you are wearing a mask. CalMat is in place here in camp. We do have the ability to do COVID testing. If you're not feeling well, please report that up through your supervisor. We can take care of that at CalMat. Next thing, railroad safety. The tracks are active. If you're going to be working in and around the railroad, make sure that your branch and your division are aware. They can make contact with the railroad, make sure the appropriate notifications are in place, and the railroad is aware that people are working in and near the tracks. Next thing is mentioned by Air Ops, but with the long transport times, the long drive times out there, if you have a line emergency, consider your options, have a plan, have a backup plan for that. Utilize the resources that we have. With that, have a safe shift.
Communications.
Good morning, Tom Webb, Communications Unit Leader. The comm unit will be in service today at 0700, taking that over from Orville. So if you have any needs, come to us. We'll facilitate those things through the team as far as line orders, online emergencies, anything like that. No changes to the comm plan from the previous work shift, so still using CDF Command 1 up on the incident with all the CDF TACs. I know that those don't cover 100% of the fire area, so if you need to have human repeaters in place, as far as your lookouts and stuff, take advantage of those. Some of the ridge tops are going to be better places to get out than some of the bottom of the canyons. We do have repair staff in camp if you have any radio repairs that are needed. If you have any questions, come see us over at the convent.
Medical.
Good morning, Josh Daly, Medical Unit IMT 1. Please turn to page 19 in your IAP. For the line medics, we have them divisioned out through branch 10 and branch 5 currently, and then we have more rolling in. We have Butte County EMS dedicated ambulances, and it was mentioned for your hoist ship, we have 205 out of Vina and dedicated 822, which is a National Guard ship based out of Oroville. So they're dedicated for us 24-hour ALS hoist, so they'll be for us. In camp, CalMat was mentioned. It's over by feeding, and they have a doctor, nurse, and paramedics on site for any treatment or supply. MERT will be by the CDC sleeping area. That's over by the entrance, the west entrance of camp. And then with extensive travel times, please look at box 6. We need you to have a plan, and then the Dutch Creek protocol is labeled out there. I will have pocket cards for you, and they will be back where you guys got IAPs. Have a safe shift.
Logistics.
Good morning, Jesse Morris Logistics. If you could please turn to page 27 of your IAP, you'll find a facility map for all your logistical needs around camp. And on page 21, you'll find a CAL FIRE 101 form. This form is for items that you may have lost or left on the line or damaged. You'll need a division group soup signature in order to get those back out of supply. Ground support will be loaded at the Caltrans yard. As a reminder, it's 1 sack lunch per person. These are 24-hour lunches. Please continue to follow the traffic plan around camp and have a good shift. Thank you.
Information.
Good morning, Emily Smith, Public Information Incident Management Team 1. If you could please join me on page 22 of the IEP on the Public Information section, I have some numbers for you to update. The Dixie incident is currently 9,847 acres at 12% containment, with 1,284 personnel assigned. At the top of this page, you'll find the public information line as well as the media line, so if you come across the public and or media while you're out there, please refer them to those phone lines so we can make contact. Also on this page is the CAL FIRE and federal social media policies. Please adhere to those policies. And if you do have any photos or video that you would like to post, please come by the PIO trailer first so we can vet those products. We also will have a lost and found established at the PIO as well as mail service, and the address for the mail service is at the bottom. Thank you.
Liaison.
Good morning, Brandon Gunn, Liaison Officer, Incident Management Team 1. If you're at a cooperating or assisting agency, please come by and see us at the Liaison trailer. It's right back on Trailer Row, and we'll have our cooperators meeting here at 10 o'clock. Thank you. Have a safe shift.
Law Liaison.
Good morning, Todd Crawford, Law Liaison, IMT 1. Evacuation warnings and orders that were placed a couple days ago remain in place. For Plumas, we have orders in the High Lakes, Story, Tobin, and Rock Creek area. Butte still remains in warning for the Polga and Philbrook area. Forest orders are also in place for closures, and at this time, Highway 70 is open with Caltrans having slow signs out there to keep the traffic slow for you. Thank you.
Finance.
Good morning, Susie Kane, Deputy Finance Section Chief. If you turn to page 23 in the IAP, you'll find the finance message. Please take a few moments to read it this morning. Come see us with any questions. Thank you.
Agency Administrator.
Good morning, everybody. It's great having you all here. I'm Russell Nickerson. I'm the district ranger up on Alma North, so up on the higher part of the fire here. That's my piece of ground that I manage. I really appreciate the efforts that we're having together, all of us working together on this and really hitting this fire the best we can. I do have to second the safety officer. We have had some outbreaks on some of the fires around with COVID. I think 50 plus right now from over on the Beckworth complex side that are in quarantine and isolation. So let's just take this seriously that way. Make sure we're safe so that you guys can continue the fight, because I don't want any of you down for that piece. So I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Final comments from our incident commanders.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Shannon Prather, one of the Unified ICs. Just want to thank you all for being here. I'm representing the Lassen and Plumas National Forest and working hand in hand with CAL FIRE Team 1. So just want messages just to be safe out there. You know, story from the ops is a lot of dead and down, snag country that we're heading into. So I want you guys to be safe, watch out for each other, and focus on the fire job that you have. I know that this COVID stuff is going to start to make more noise for us, but you guys do have a mission to do out there. I want you to focus on that mission and watch out for each other. And thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. Nick Truax. I'm the incident commander for IMT-1. Like he said, we're in unified command now with the Plumas National Forest Butte unit as well as the Lassen National Forest. So that transpired last night. So with some of the other fires in the area, we're probably operationally got what we're going to get for now. We lost a helicopter and a few crews to a new fire last night. So I guess where I'm going with that is a little leader's intent. You already heard from safety, but there's nothing out there worth you guys getting work for or hurt for. So we're going to take a little bite at a time and get out there safely. Another thing I'm going to ask of you is, you know, society's changed over the last couple of years. I think we can all agree about that, putting all politics aside. What I'm going to ask of you as a fire service, as firefighters, whether it be our private hire folks on the water tenders, the bulldozers, whether you're CAL FIRE, Forest Service, local government, private fire agencies, whatever, we're all the fire service, and we are expected to act a certain way with our public, whether it's in restaurants, hotels, convenience stores, or just driving on the highways. Have a little more patience with folks. The restaurants, the hotels, the convenience stores, they're understaffed. People aren't necessarily back to work the way it was 2 years ago. So just keep that in mind. So if getting your breakfast takes a little longer or getting your hotel room takes a little longer, you know what? Just plan for it, because it's probably going to happen. There is no sense in making a scene either here in camp or out in the public. We're held to a higher regard than the public is. So I just ask you to kind of keep that in mind. You know what? If you're 10 minutes late getting out to the line by not cutting somebody off on the highway, that's fine. We're going to be patient with you as well. So please keep that in mind. No reason to be in a hurry out there. And take care of your troops, take care of yourselves. We're early on in a long fire season. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, moving on to our breakout locations. To my left, your right, starting with Division Alpha, Bravo, Whiskey back there on the tree, Foxtrot along the back gate, Mike on the other side of the gate, Papa in the corner, Quebec's up against the wall, Romeo's right here at this first tree, and Sierra to my right. If you are unassigned, not on the IAP, right outside the gate where the IAPs were handed out is where you'll check in for unassigned resources. Have a great shift.